What's up, ladies and gentlemen? In today's video, we're going to be comparing two different leases on very similar MSRP electric SUVs. We're going to be comparing the Rivian R1S quad motor to the Tesla Model X Plaid. Now, both of these vehicles have an MSRP or a retail price of around $95,000, which I know isn't like anywhere near the average selling price of a vehicle in the United States. But the reason I'm making this video is I wanted to showcase that even though two vehicles can have a very similar MSRP, they can have a very different lease payment. You see, when it comes to leases, there are a lot of different factors that contribute to your lease price. You got the selling price, you got any rebates that you may qualify for, you've got the residual value, essentially what the car is going to be worth at the end of the lease term, and then you also have, the money factor, also known as the interest rate, and then you have the selling price, how much of a discount you're getting from the dealer, or in this case from the manufacturer, since Rivians and Teslas are sold directly from the manufacturer to the consumer without any middleman, aka car dealer. Now, spoiler alert, in terms of value, the Rivian actually leases much better than the Tesla, but I'm going to jump into the computer and I'm going to showcase this for all of you watching. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I've got the Rivian website loaded here on the left-hand side, and I've got the Tesla website loaded here on the right-hand side. As you can see here on the right-hand side, I've got the Tesla Model X, and as you can see, it's the Plaid variant with an MSRP of $94,990. Now, this vehicle has a 326 miles of range, a 149 mile an hour top speed, and a 0 to 60 time of 2.5 seconds. And as you can see here, it has 1,020 horsepower, which is just incredible. And on the left-hand side here, I have the Rivian R1S in this beautiful green color. It's the quad motor all-wheel drive. It has 321 miles of range, 835 horsepower, so not quite as much as the Tesla. It has a 3-second 0 to 60 time, as you can see here, and it has an MSRP of $95,550, so about, roughly $600 more than the Tesla Model X Plaid. Now, let's go ahead and price these vehicles in terms of a lease deal. I'm going to go ahead and click on this R1S, and then I'm going to go over here to the Tesla website. I'm going to click on this little, pop-up window. And then I'm going to hit lease, and I'll actually go back to the Rivian website. I'm going to actually click on this $846 monthly estimated lease payment, as you can see here on the bottom of the page. I'll click that, and I get this pop-up. Now, ladies and gentlemen, anytime you lease a vehicle, it doesn't matter if it's a Rivian or a Tesla, a Toyota, a Hyundai, I don't know, a Kia, a BMW, you want to put down the least amount of money as you can. And there's a couple of reasons for this. Let's just say you put, $10,000 down on this Rivian R1S lease. Now, if I signed this lease today, I went and picked up the car from the Rivian dealer, and let's say, 2 days from now, I get in this horrible accident or the car is stolen somehow. Well, that kind of puts my $10,000 down payment in jeopardy. So the rule of thumb is that you always want to put down as little money as possible, preferably $0 down on any car lease. And real quick, another reason that I try to keep $0 down as a rule of thumb anytime you're negotiating a car lease is it just makes it much easier to compare two different leases, as you'll see in this example. So on the left-hand side, I've got the Rivian lease up. It's a 36-month lease. It says 10,000 miles a year. I could click the drop down and get 12,000 or 15,000 miles a year. I think there's a huge misconception out there that you can only get 10,000 miles a year on your leases. And ladies and gentlemen, you can get a 12,000 mile a year lease. As you can see, the monthly payment is $846 with 10,000 miles. If I go to 12,000 miles, it goes to $871. If I go to 15,000 miles, it goes to $896. But for this comparison's sake, we'll just leave it at 10,000 miles. I'm going to assume that you have excellent credit, 800 plus credit score. And in terms of down payment, let's just do $0 down. And now over here on the Tesla website, you can do cash, lease, or finance, but we're going to lease this Tesla. This Tesla also has a down payment of $7,500, which it defaults to. So we'll change this to $0. We'll also do a 36-month term, and we'll do the annual mileage at 10,000 miles. But as you can see here, you can do a 12 or 15,000 mile a year lease if you choose to do so. Now, ladies and gentlemen, look at the monthly lease payment. Here you can see the Rivian's monthly lease payment with $0 down is $1,052 a month. And here on the Tesla Model X Plaid with $0 down, the monthly payment is $1,648 a month. And remember, both of these vehicles have a very similar MSRP. The Rivian's here on the bottom left, it's $95,550, and the Tesla was $94,990, I believe. Let's just click on cash. Yeah, $94,990. So to lease this Tesla, you're definitely not getting the same amount of value. This is actually a car that's cheaper, but the monthly payment is easily, almost 60 or more than 60% more than the Rivian. And I actually want to bust out the calculator to showcase how good of a lease deal this Rivian actually is. Because if we use my 1.25% rule of leasing, which is a rule of thumb that I use, that your monthly lease payment with $0 down should not be more than 1.25% of the MSRP, you'll see that the Rivian meets that criteria, but the Tesla does not. So let's go ahead and run the numbers. Now, if I take the Rivian's $1,052 that's due at signing, and let's just say I multiply it by 1.1 to account for 10% sales tax here in the city of Seattle, I get a monthly payment with $0 down of $1,157.20. Now, if I divide that number by 95,550, I get 1.21%. So remember, I got to roll the decimal point over 2 spots. So when I do that, I get 1.21%. So the Rivian is actually a 1.21% lease, which means it easily meets the 1.25% rule of thumb criteria. On the other hand, if I roll this calculator over and we do the same thing on the Tesla, let's just clear this out. Let's take the monthly lease payment of $1,648 and let's multiply it by 1.1. I get a monthly lease payment with $0 down of $1,812.80. And when I divide this number by the Tesla's MSRP, which is $94,990, I get 1.9% when I roll the decimal point over 2 spots. So ladies and gentlemen, the Tesla Model X Plaid, the monthly lease payment with $0 down is 1.9% of the MSRP. Meanwhile, the Rivian is 1.21% of the MSRP. And that essentially just means that the Rivian is a much better value in terms of leasing. So the moral of the story is, just because two vehicles have the same MSRP, and it could be a Kia Telluride compared to a Toyota Highlander, does not mean that they will have the same or similar monthly lease payment. Because as you can see from this example, which is more of a dramatic example because we're comparing two almost $100,000 cars, just because these two cars have the same MSRP, the Rivian leases much better in terms of value. And ladies and gentlemen, if you want one-on-one car lease coaching, or if you want one-on-one financial coaching, please visit the Stan Store link in my bio or down below. Financial knowledge is power. Please like and follow for more.